Hey everyone, this is Z-Man Cuddles with my delightful dinosaur or Korraidon loop deck. So over the weekend I won a cup in the DMV area playing Pidgeot Control. And this is relevant because I started thinking about how can I do a bear loop kind of deck in Gym Leader Challenge. So the bear loop, if you're not familiar with standard, is that you have an Ursaluna that does 240 damage and it has this huge HP, it's 260, and you can make it a little bit bigger with some tools like Bravery Charm. There's a Buffalant that adds 60 more HP. You can just make it where it doesn't die, and then you reset it with Penny and, well, just Penny and Standard. But you can play 3 pennies, 2 Pal Pads, and you can just reset it. You start the early game running your opponent out of resources. Anyway, I thought about how do I do a penny loop in Gym Leader Challenge? Well, this new Korraidon came out. And this Korraidon says for a double colorless, which is important, for 30 damage, plus if one of your ancient Pokemon used an attack during your last turn, it does 150. So if you penny it and then put it back onto the board, Pokemon says that resets the game state to the point where it forgets that it's the same Korraidon. So if you attack with this, penny it, put it back, and attack with it again, you're doing a continual 180 while tanking your hits. So in your early game, you're going to start with Slitherwing. And you're probably just going to stomp off, which discards the top card of your deck. But then for 2 fighting energy, you can do 120. It does 90 to itself, and your opponent's Pokemon is burned. So the penny that you can use to reset this is also helpful because if your opponent's bricked and you're taking some early KOs with this, doing the 120 with the Burning Turbulence, you can reset it with the penny or some of the other things. The tools also help, so that way maybe you get 2 hits in before it gets KO'd. Now I wanted a third Pokemon, and yes, this deck only plays 3. So I have this Okidogi here, which if you have a Dark Energy attached to it, it gets plus 100. So it's 230 HP, and its attacks do 170 instead of just 70. So how do you make this work? The most important thing is you're going to mulligan the full 6 to 8 times. So shout out to Weeder for helping out with this technology. I dedicated 2 slots to helping me out with my mulligans. Copycat says I can shuffle my hand into my deck and I draw each card based on how many are in my opponent's hand. This happened to me in testing against my wife, where I would sometimes draw 11 with this if I'm going second, even after she plays down her nest balls and things like that. Red card I can do on my first turn, and this is my opponent shuffles his or hand into his deck and draws 4. I thought about some funny things like Hand Tremor and Xeroxix, but I haven't tried them. Now, in terms of the core engine for the deck, or core strategy, you have 5 different ways to pick up your Pokemon, and you play Pal Pad and Versus Seeker, so really more than that, but the 2 item ones are Scoop Up Net, where you can put a Pokemon into your hand and you discard the cards, and then Super Scoop Up Net, where you have to flip a coin, but if it's heads, you can return the Pokemon and all the cards to your hand, so you get back your tool with that one. And then you have 3 supporters. Penny is one of the best ones. You can put a basic Pokemon and all the cards back into your hand. AZ puts the Pokemon back into your hand, but you do lose the cards attached to the Pokemon. And then Acerola is you put the Pokemon that has any damage counters attached to your hand and you get to keep it. So different kind of conditions and the advantages sort of depend. To make sure that you tank the hit, you have 5 different tools. Ancient Booster Capsule increases the HP of ancient Pokemon, so your Slitherwing and your Korraidon, by 60 HP. And so this is important because the Korraidon becomes a 190, so it survives a Snorlax hitting for 180, and it makes your Slitherwing 200. Your Focus Sash and Luxurious Cape almost always guarantee that you take a hit. So Luxurious Cape increases your HP by 100, but then if you are knocked out, you give up an extra prize. Focus Sash is amazing. This is one of my favorite cards in fighting. If the fighting Pokemon it's attached to has full HP and would be knocked out, it is not knocked out and its remaining HP becomes 10. So this is sort of similar to the Ace spec that's in Standard or the Pikachu ability. And then you have Bravery Charm. I'm not sure what the Floatstone's doing here in the HP addition tools, but we do play Floatstone and Air Balloon, so that way if maybe Okidogi is on your bench, so that way you don't get donked with one of these, you can move it back and forth. But you have these 4 to be able to tank a hit, and then you'll reset them with these. So that's the core of the deck. Now how do you get there? We play first a bunch of turbo items. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 slots dedicated to just churning through the deck. 2 of them are stadiums. Rose Tower, which if you have less than 3 cards, you can draw until you have 3 cards in your hand. Pokestop, discard the top 3 cards of your deck and get items. Trainer's Mail, look at the top 4 and grab one of the trainers. Pokegear, look at the top 7 and grab a supporter. Tag Call to get your Guzma, Hala, and your Cynthia and Caitlin. Acrobike, look at the top 2, discard one. Trekking Shoes, look at the top card, you can discard it, keep it, or get your next card. Bicycle, draw until you have 4. Gutsy Pickaxe, you can look at the top card. If it's a fighting energy, you can attach it. That actually has happened to me once before, not at the tournament, but in testing. An Energy Lotto, look at the top 7, reveal an energy, and can put it into your hand. We only play 2 regular energies, but 8 special energies, so that's why I'm playing this over Professor's Letter. To continue going through the deck, we have a lot of supporters. Fighting does not have support, so you want to make sure you have supporters to get through everything. So we play Research and Carmine to discard your hand and draw. Bill's Analysis is a bit of a weird one. Shout out to Spence for recommending this. You can look at the top 7 cards of your deck and grab 2 trainers. Karina's can also be a tutor, and Arvin. Karina is like Irida for fighting. It grabs a fighting Pokemon and an item card. One of the funny things of this deck, by the way, this is one of 3 Pokemon search cards. Colorless is Tenacity and Guzma Hala to tutor the energies, as well as some other tools, quite literally, and a stadium. Cynthia and Caitlin gets back your supporter and draws 3. 2 other hand disruptions that aren't the red card, Iono and Marnie. Marnie's really nice because even if you're at the second to last prize, you're not going to brick yourself. Iono I'm not quite sure about, but it's been working for me so far. Guzma for your Gust, and then Sada. You only have 2 fighting, but this actually hasn't been dead for me, which is nice. For the Pokemon Search, you have 3 cards. The Quick Ball, Nest Ball, Hisuian, and Heavy Ball. You'll always start 1 Pokemon, so you only have 2 you have to find. It's kind of the funniest thing with building this is how much space that gives you. For your recovery, we play 6 cards. So on the supporter side, we have Versus Seeker and Palpad. I like Palpad a lot in fighting decks because a lot of times your opponent's win condition is to brick you after you're down to your last couple prizes, and this just helps increase your odds of not bricking. Some Pokemon recovery, we have Rescue Stretcher, Night Stretcher, and Revive. I like these because they all go to the hand or to the field, so you don't have to find them later. The Revive has sometimes been Lana's Rod, so that we can also get back the some of the recovery tools. That might work, but I've had times too where I just really went into the bench. So for tonight, for the tournament, I went with Revive. And then Special Charge to get back to Special Energy. For what I consider the techs, we have 3 cards. Lily's Pokédoll, so this helps for when you need to move something, then you can put it back in. Maybe they play an escape rope. In general, you only have 3 Pokemon. This could actually probably be cut. It was originally a Snorlax style, which you could start. So because I only had 3 Pokemon, I was messing around with that. But I just wanted to have something, so if I find a Pokemon the next turn, maybe I have a Korraidon in my hand, but I played a different supporter, I would have an out where I don't just lose to getting donked. Town Map, and Escape Rope. So for the energies, the most important thing are these double energies, because this is how you attack with the Korraidon. You get to play 3 of those in Gym Leader Challenge, which is nice. Only one of them has a downside. These 2 are exactly the same card, which is interesting. Then you have these 4 special energies. These are nice because they work with everything. Specifically, they're here for Okidogi, but a lot of times you can attach one of these to the Slither Wing. And because you have 4 of them and you have Special Charge, it's okay to feel like you're wasting one. So these will activate the Okidogi's HP boosting and just make sure that you have an energy in play. And then you have the 2 fighting and this counter energy, which hasn't been live. One of fighting's advantages is it often takes the first prize, which is helpful because if you miss one of the penny loop turns, you're probably ahead by 1 anyway. So you're not playing from behind and you don't have to do it every turn, or you don't have to do it to win the game. Oftentimes, if you'll have to do it, it's because your bench is so low. But honestly, this concept is funny. I made this deck to be funny, to be clear. But I actually really do like it. Like I said, after playing the Pidgeot control at the Cup and Standard, it's just kind of fun having a different take on Bear Loop. Being able to have something that's like 230 HP or has, maybe the Field Blower's down because they Field Blowered away Luxurious Cape, and then you put on Focus Sash. It's just kind of funny. So having as many outs to that as possible, it worked for me tonight. And I'll be curious to see other people try it. At the end of the day, I'm always just trying to make decks that other people aren't making. I think this one was interesting enough to share. So thanks, and hope you have a good rest of your day.